Child of the soil, listen closely. The mouth that praises you in daylight may sharpen its teeth in the dark. This is why, in the village of Old Bamako, the wind still carries the screams of a man who shared his joy with the wrong ears. The sun bled crimson over the savannah, painting the baobabs in long grieving shadows. The air smelled of burnt hibiscus and the sweat of farmers returning from the fields. Somewhere a lone djembe throbbed like a nervous heartbeat. This was the village of Old Bamako, where the soil was rich, but human hearts were richer in secrets. Here lived Adisa, a young palm wine tapper with laughter as bright as the morning sun. His skin, the color of polished mahogany, glistened under the heat. His eyes, two pools of liquid moonlight, held a kindness that made even the village griot pause mid-tale to smile at him. But Adisa carried a secret joy. Deep in the sacred grove, where the Momoya, spirits, whispered through the leaves, he had found a golden calabash, a vessel said to hold the blessings of Ani, the earth goddess. It shimmered like captured sunlight, promising wealth, favor, and the admiration of all. With this, Adisa whispered, "My mother will never hunger again." But the ancestors say, a blessing untold is a knife unsharpened. That evening, as fireflies danced over the village square, Adisa's best friend Dyke, a broad-shouldered hunter with a grin like split cola nut, slung an arm around him. "Eh, brother, your steps are lighter than a gazelle's. What sweetness have you swallowed?" Adisa hesitated. The calabash burned against his chest, begging to be shown. "I found something," he murmured. Dyke's eyes darkened like storm clouds. "We share blood, you and I, or have you forgotten?" And so, under the moon's watchful eye, Adisa revealed the golden calabash. Dyke's gasp was the sound of a snake uncoiling. "The gods favor you," he cried, but his fingers twitched toward his hunting knife. That night, as Adisa slept, the village drums began speaking in a tongue only the old ones understood. Run, run, run. But Adisa, drunk on future glory, did not listen. Outside his hut, shadows moved. One of them held a knife, and the wind carried a final whisper. "The friend who envies your rise will dig your grave with his smile." The night was too still. No crickets sang, no owls called. Even the wind held its breath as it slithered through the thatched roofs of Old Bamako. Somewhere, a baby whimpered, and its mother hushed it quickly, as if silence could keep them safe. But Adisa slept on, dreaming of the golden calabash beneath his sleeping mat, its glow seeping into his dreams like honey. He did not hear the creak of his door, did not see the shadow that bled across his floor, long and hungry. A hand clamped over his mouth. "Shh, brother," came Dyke's voice, warm as poisoned wine. "We must celebrate your blessing." By sunrise, the village buzzed like a stirred beehive. Dyke had called a great feast, a rarity in the dry season. "Adisa has been favored by the gods," he announced, pounding his chest. "Let us honor him before the envious spirits steal his luck." The villagers cheered, but their eyes darted like startled antelopes. Something was wrong. Adisa sat at the head of the gathering, draped in indigo cloth, the golden calabash placed before him like an offering. The elders eyed it, their lips tight. The children reached for it, only to be slapped away by their mothers. "Do you not see?" whispered Mama Nkechi, the oldest weaver, her voice cracking like dry bark. "That is no blessing, that is Ani's test." But the drums were loud. The palm wine was sweeter than usual, and Adisa, flushed with pride, did not notice how Dyke's smile never reached his eyes. As the sun dipped, Dyke stood, raising a gourd of wine. "To Adisa, may his fortune shine." His grip tightened, and may he share it wisely. The villagers drank. Adisa laughed, and then, crash. The calabash shattered against the stones, its golden light snuffed out like a strangled firefly. Silence. Dyke's face twisted in mock horror. "Brother, your hands, they shook." But Adisa hadn't touched it. The villagers stepped back. The elders murmured. The children hid behind their mothers. And then the whispers began. "He broke a sacred thing. The gods will curse us all. He must be driven out." Adisa's breath came in ragged gasps. "Dyke, you saw. I didn't." But Dyke's eyes were wet with false tears. "The calabash chose you, and you spat on its gift." That night, the village turned to stone. Doors slammed shut. Fires were doused. And Adisa, once beloved, stood alone in the square, the broken calabash shards glinting like accusing eyes. Then, a sound. Soft, relentless, inhuman. The Moya spirits were laughing. From the sacred grove, a voice slithered. "You fed your joy to a jackal. Now let us see if you survive the hunger." The forest swallowed Adisa whole. Thorns bit his ankles. Branches clawed at his tunic, tearing the indigo cloth, the same cloth he had worn with pride just hours before. Behind him, the village drums still pounded, but the rhythm had changed. No longer celebration. Now they beat the hunt. "Bring him back," the elders had decreed. "Let him face the gods' judgment." But Adisa knew the truth. This was no trial. This was burial. Adisa ran until his lungs burned like swallowed coals. The golden calabash's shards, tucked in his pouch, seemed to grow heavier with each step. Why did I trust him? The memory of Dyke's smirk as the calabash shattered haunted him. His best friend, his blood brother, had set the trap, and Adisa had danced right into it. A rustle in the bushes. Adisa froze. Then, a laugh, high, mocking. "The gods do not weep for fools," came a voice like cracking twigs. From the shadows emerged Anansi, the trickster spider, his 8 eyes glinting with cruel amusement. "Run all you want, little man," Anansi crooned, weaving a web between his fingers. "But envy has longer legs than shame." Adisi's throat tightened. "What do you want?" Anansi's smile stretched. "Oh, just to watch." And then he was gone, leaving only a single thread dangling, a taunt. Dawn found Adisa at the river Ojari, where the water was said to carry the voices of the betrayed. Exhausted, he knelt to drink, and the river spoke. "Adisa." His head snapped up. The water swirled, forming faces, all the souls who had trusted and been destroyed for it, a woman who shared her harvest and was accused of theft, a boy who found a diamond and was pushed into a well, a griot who sang the truth and was silenced with poison. "You are not the first," the river sighed, "nor will you be the last." Adisa's reflection stared back, gaunt, terrified. Then, a new face appeared. Dyke. But not as Adisa knew him. This Dyke was older, his eyes hollow, his hands stained. Behind him the golden calabash sat repaired, its glow now sickly green. "He took your blessing," the river whispered, "but the gods do not like thieves." A searing pain ripped through Adisa's chest. He tore open his tunic and gasped. A black vine curled over his heart, pulsing like a second heartbeat. "No!" The river's laughter rose. "Annie's mark! The calabash was never yours to lose. Now its curse will chase you and him." Adisa stumbled back. The vine tightened. Somewhere far away, Dyke would be screaming too. The wind carried screams back to old Bamako. Not Adisa's, though his lungs burned from running, but Dyke's. The once proud hunter now writhed in his hut, clawing at his chest where the same black vine pulsed beneath his skin. The golden calabash, now reassembled with spider silk and greed, sat at his bedside, its glow flickering like a dying firefly. Take it back, Dyke howled to the empty air. I don't want it. But the calabash only whispered, too late. Adisa collapsed at the edge of the forbidden grove, where the trees grew thorns like teeth. The vine on his chest had spread, its tendrils now creeping up his throat. Every heartbeat sent a fresh wave of fire through his veins. Why? He gasped to the shadows. I didn't break the calabash. The leaves rustled. Then, Mami Wata emerged from the undergrowth, her scales gleaming like knives. Foolish child, she hissed. The calabash was never the blessing, the secret was. Adisa's breath hitched. What secret? Mami Wata's laugh was the sound of drowning. Ani's rule, joy shared too soon becomes poison. You fed your happiness to a snake, and now you both choke on it. She pressed a cold hand to his chest. The vine screamed. Run back to the village, she murmured. See what your friend has reaped. Dyke's hut stank of sweat and rotting fruit. The villagers crowded outside, their eyes wide with terror. No one dared enter. Not after the first 3 who tried came out with their hair turned white. Inside, Dyke cradled the calabash like a child, his once strong arms now skeletal. The vine had blossomed, its black flowers oozing a thick metallic sap. Adisa, he croaked, sensing his presence. You did this. Adisa stepped forward, his own chest burning. No, you did. The calabash trembled. Then, it spoke. One stole, one boasted, both sinned. Its voice was the grinding of stones. Now choose, who will pay the price? Dyke's eyes met Adisa's. For the first time, real fear flickered in them. Night fell like a shroud. Anansi descended from the rafters, his legs clicking against the mud walls. Tisk, tisk, he chided. Men always weep when the trap snaps shut. Dyke lunged at him, or tried to. His body crumpled, the veins now rooting him to the floor. Anansi grinned. I can save one of you, but only if... He dangled a thread. You give me a story worth spinning. Adisa's fists clenched. What story? The spider's eyes gleamed. The truth, all of it. Outside, the villagers leaned closer. The drums stopped. Even the wind held its breath. The hut trembled. Not from wind, not from footsteps, but from the weight of the unspoken. A truth coiled like a viper in the room, ready to strike. Anansi's thread glistened between them, thinner than a hair, sharper than a spear. Well, the spider crooned, shall I leave you both to rot? Adisa looked at Dyke, really looked. His once brother's lips were cracked, his skin grey where the vines hadn't yet reached. The golden calabash between them had gone dull, its surface now etched with spiderweb cracks that pulsed like veins. You did it, Adisa whispered. Dyke's eyes flashed. Liar, you... No. Adisa touched his own chest, where the black vine throbbed. I was a fool to trust you, but you were a fool to think the gods wouldn't see. Silence. Then, a whimper. Dyke collapsed forward, his forehead hitting the dirt. I wanted it. The glory, the praise, all of it. His voice splintered. I planned to break the calabash from the start. The hut shuddered. The villagers outside gasped. And the calabash shattered again, but this time into dust. The vines on both men's chests blistered, then crumbled away like burnt paper. Anansi clapped his legs together. Nothing like a good confession to spoil my fun. But Mami Wata's voice cut through from the shadows. Do not celebrate yet, little liar. You forget. The land itself heard your envy. The ground beneath Dyke's knees turned to quicksand. No! No! He clawed at the hut's posts, but his fingers passed through them like smoke. Adisa, help me! Adisa reached out, then stopped. You dug this hole yourself, he said softly. I won't jump in after you. With a final scream, Dyke was gone. The earth sealed itself above him, smooth as untouched clay. Dawn came. The villagers crept forward, their eyes wide. Where Dyke had stood, a single spider lily now grew, its petals black, its stem studded with thorns. Anansi, suddenly solemn, turned to Adisa. "The calabash is gone, so is your friend. What will you do now?" Adisa touched his chest. No vine, no pain, only a scar, shaped like a tiny calabash. "I'll live," he said, "but I'll never again mistake a smiling face for a safe one." Mamiwata's laughter rippled through the trees as she vanished into the river. Good, that was the real blessing. Years later, when children asked about the black lily in the village square, the elders would say, "The mouth that eats in secret will vomit in public." And Adisa? He became a griot. But his stories always ended the same way. Joy is a flame, my friends. Share it with the wrong wind, and it will burn your house down.